Hello, my name is Leslie Williams and I'm in San Diego, California, and I'm going to fly right into the reason why I'm making this particular video. And I'm going to introduce to you some technology that is being used to influence the average everyday citizen. It doesn't matter what country you're in. Excuse me, please. Now, the reason why I'm making this video is because I want you to understand the factual realities of brain stimulation in reference to using technology that can identify and mark the resonance frequency of your brain and any neural pathway that is in it. Also, I want to describe to you what is known as the microwave hearing effect that is being used in order to direct neural influence. And I'm just going to fly right into this. In the expeditions of what is known as gang stalking, there are certain technological resources that are always used in these expeditions in order to try and influence a target. Excuse me while I'm looking for something. I'm just going to go ahead and keep talking. To try and influence targets neurally, to try and entrain their thinking for neural control and enslavement. And for the motivations are multiple. Human trafficking is one, to try and entrain their thinking so they can be led to go from A to B to C to D, where crimes can happen to them, where they can be set up and accused of crimes and then entrapped in the court system and even in prison. That's usually dedicated for racketeering purposes and fraud purposes, because there's a lot of privately owned jails right now and prisons, and every time they get an inmate, they apply for federal funds per inmate. So we're talking about using people as straw people. Excuse me for a second. So these things, and whistleblowers as well, to attempt to set them up. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read to you some information concerning twin door mind control and reverse thinking. And I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to start reading this. It says this article explains what they did to a certain individual through conditioning their thinking. Okay? And what they do is they classically condition neural pathways in order to get you to believe, in order to get you to think and believe certain things. Okay, they're called conditioned neural networks that hold thoughts, beliefs, hopes, and actions. And then once these neural pathways are created, they can stimulate them back into the current consciousness on any date as a result of them using technology that is called remote neural monitoring. Okay, now remote neural monitoring is basically, here's you can find this PDF link at the bottom of Freedom from Covert Harassment and Surveillance. There's 3 PDF links. Pay attention to all 3. This video is dedicated to the first 2. It literally talks about NSA signals intelligence use of EMF brain stimulation. Okay? Read, let's see, what I want you to do is I want you to read all the way up until the end of the file. Especially beginning at, well, the whole entire file is dedicated to brain stimulation and the remote neural monitoring of a brain in order to be able to identify the resonance frequency of it and any neural pathway and brain state that is in it. The whole shebang. And what they basically want to do with targets of organized stalking, they have multiple aspirations. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read this to you. What they try and do, before I can read that, is I'm going to show you a diagram here. This is a person's, this represents neural pathways in the brain that are being drawn by drawing you what appears to be electrical schematics. Because the neural pathways in a person's brain are interconnected to their brain states, the limbic system, emotional states, which are brain states, motor cortex associated behaviors, which are responsible for musculatory directions like moving your hands, your arms, your feet, your legs, and they are definitely 100% have the capability to excite the get up and go response. And it literally says it right there. It says irresistible, involuntary, irresistible go here, go there commands. Okay? And basically what that is that is done in order to get the target to excite the innate motor cortex associated behavior commands of getting up and going to them. And that's what this particular neural pathway has to do. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you, this is a very, very generic illustration of a schematic, and I want you to view it as a neural pathway, a circuit that controls a neural pathway. Okay, and this right here, the power source that I'm showing you, is basically the this is a neural pathway. Okay, that's got separate pathways within the neural network. This is a neural network, and these are the pathways within the neural network. And this is right here is the basically additional neural pathways that can excite it. Okay, I illustrated it as the power source because whenever you have a neural pathway, whether it be dormant or one that is very much potentiated and how it's classically conditioned, reinforced, and as a result it becomes potentiated right below the threshold of firing, which means that it's right below the threshold of being stimulated back into current consciousness to be rethought out and even reacted upon based on the thoughts, feelings, beliefs, hopes, okay, that are in the neural pathway, and the actions that are also dedicated to these particular thought streams. Now, what I want you to understand is that in organized stalking and gang stalking expeditions, what they do is take a psychological profile of you, okay, in reference to your personality attributes, your thought, your how you respond and react to social relationships, the environment, threats to the personality, threats to the physical body, how you perceive the world, and they take basically an in-depth psychological profile of you because their whole goal is to psychologically drive you, okay, through neuro-linguistic programming techniques, which include also dark neuro-linguistic programming techniques, brain entrainment, and so on and so forth. And what I mean by that, brain entrainment is a form of biofeedback, which is what they basically do is use certain devices in order to alter the EEG synchronization by desynchronizing the brain itself in order to be able to send pulsated psychological direction through transmission methods for neural effective signals. Okay, and this is done to affect the neural. This is done to stimulate using pulsed microwaves to neurally affect the signals of nerve groups. Okay, and what I'm trying to do is basically just tell you is that what they do is that this one pathway in the neural network is how you are, how you think, how you feel, how you act, your brain states, your belief systems, your cultural belief systems, your religious belief systems, all parts of your personality attributes, who you are as a person, your self-actualization. And then what they do as a result of using what is known as the, when you look at the title of the remote neural monitoring file, you'll clearly be able to see that it states how the NSA is harassing hundreds of thousands of law-abiding citizens daily by the usage of remote neural monitoring. Because the technology of remote neural monitoring also has, within the same exact technology that is in, the microwave hearing effect. And basically what they do is monitor a target neurally from a remote distance in order to be able to see what they're processing, even harassing them concerning their own subvocal speech, okay? And that means their thought processes. And then what they do as a result of the remote neural monitoring, reading what the evoked potentials are that are being processed, whether it be the EMG evoked potentials, transcranial evoked potentials, your thought processes, your emotional states, or whatever, they are able to ascertain it as a result of being remotely neurally monitored. Then the computer, which runs the microwave auditory effect that's incorporated within the remote neural monitoring, has a software program that's got the entire English dictionary in it, which also includes slang terms. And what they'll do is set up that software to be run by artificial intelligence. In turn, the artificial intelligence will stream together words or phrases to transmit back to the target to harass a target concerning what the remote neural monitoring is reading from a target. Okay, and this is done in order to be able to excite and provoke neural responses in reference to the theme of the harassment concerning the target being harassed about their own evoked potentials, whether it be their thoughts, any actions that they engage in, and so on and so forth. And this is done to cultivate hate dissemination and to provoke neural responses in reference to the theme of the harassment. And the reason why they do that is because they want you to hate them. Okay, the microwave hearing effect and the harassment that comes from it as a result of you being remotely neurally monitored is not the only thing that a target experiences in organized stalking expeditions. They're also assaulted physically along their routes. They're even raped. Their whole entire lives are destroyed from every angle, including work, education. They're blacklisted from employment. They'll stage a vehicle accident so they can have a car to sleep in. They'll create homelessness of a target. They'll totally destroy every single aspect of a target's independence in reference to how they feed and clothe themselves, and as far as work goes, they'll blacklist them from employment so they have a hard time feeding themselves and paying rent, which are existing monthly bills, and that is done to aid and abet in the creating of the homelessness. And while all this is happening to a target, they're assaulted in between, they're harassed along all their routes, and all of this is done while they're being electronically harassed. Okay, they're not just electronically harassed in their home or in a motel room. They can be electronically harassed on a bus, in a university, in a public library, in a store, because what they're doing is piggybacking off of the electronics that are in the environment, including when a target is walking down the road, because they can piggyback off of the power lines and modulate their frequency and use it as a carrier, and then modulate their frequencies down to interface with the bioelectric frequency of the target's brain, or they can use stationary satellites that are in the community and just triangulate and vector your location in order for you to hear the harassment, even about your thoughts when you're mobile. Okay, and this is done to keep you in a non-stop circular mental neural loop of neural responses in reference to the harassment. Okay, because they're not only harvesting EEGs and emotional clusters, they're also entraining your thinking to hate them. Okay, and the reason why they want to, and they also sexually exploit targets too. They'll set them up to be human trafficked and attempt to brain entrain them to cooperate for the sex for money, or whatever type of bargaining tool that they'll offer a target. And then those neural pathways, once they're classically conditioned and reinforced, they're identified and marked using remote neural monitoring, and then stimulated back into current consciousness of the target on any date, multiple times in one date, to sexually exploit a target. Hold on one second. So, and this is one of the reasons why I'm making this particular video, because it's called Twin Door Mind Control Reverse Thinking. Twin doors. This is one neural pathway that's got all of your thoughts and all your beliefs and who you are as a person in its entirety. This is the entrainment circuit that they attempt to try and entrain, okay, through actually there's three altogether. So hold on one second, because what you have to understand here, just hold on one second. What you have to understand here is that this is who you are as a person. These are this second neural pathway that's in the neural circuit, is how they've cultivated neural responses to the harassment. Okay, so this is basically nothing but entrained neural responses to the harassment and victimization. Okay, and once they have these neural pathways created, that's why they harass you, in order to create them. They then reinforce them through the continued victimization of the harassment and victimization. Okay, so what we basically got here is one neural network, okay, that's dedicated to at least 3 neural pathways. And trust me, these neural pathways are not series circuits. These pathways can be connected to all types of innate responses, like which they can attach to them and stimulate. You would not believe what I know. But the point I'm trying to make here is that this is you. This neural pathway is you. Okay? And this is an intrusion neural pathway. It's just shown to you through a series circuit illustration. This is the entrained neural pathways that they deliberately classically condition and reinforce to potentiate the frequency of it. Okay? And this is The eventual neural pathway that they also attempt to entrain as a result of them wrecking every area of your financial independence. Because what they want to do is be able to physically control where you go to eat, what you depend on for warmth, like clothes and shelter, okay? And how they'll deceive you into thinking certain ways to depend on them for the food, clothes, and shelter, okay? And this is done in order to entrain a neural pathway to get you to cooperate with them, to feel feelings of loyalty to them, okay? And to get you to get up and go and depend on them for these needs to get met. Okay, so what they're basically doing is entraining neural responses and neural thought processes. Okay, in this right here and in this right here, while you still exist in space and time. And this is why it's called twin door mind control reverse thinking. Because your thinking knows what they are. They're criminals. Okay? Which means that when you're processing how you know you've been treated by them, hang on a second. When you're processing how you know consciously, okay, and even unconsciously how you know that you think about them because of experiences and because of how you're being influenced, okay, by them through physical people and by the microwave hearing effect, you know how you feel about them because you know what kind of a person you are, okay? Well, and since they wreck every area of your life to get you to go to places that they can influence to get you to think that you can depend on these places, they'll even use places that aren't really even involved in these campaigns, but they might be influencing the people that you're running to, like Salvation Army or a church or whatever, okay? And what they'll do is get you to run to them through suggestion and through deceit, okay? You got to eat, so you run to these places to depend on them for food, for maybe some transportation help, so you can take a bus to get to where you got to go. And their whole goal is to get you to believe that you can depend on these places, okay? Because what they want to do is also try to insert themselves in these places as well, through deception and along your routes. And this is all, and they also get you to believe that if you go to a hospital and just say you're suicidal, you'll be able to get all these kinds of services that will help you get out of the situation that they put you in. But the person who's trying to deceive you to do that has been a person that has entered your life through casual, friendly environments, who you might not even know is part of the gang stalking expedition, to get you to believe that you can go to these places for help. Hospital, churches, Salvation Army, charities, whatever, okay? And the whole goal is to entrain neural pathways to get you to think a certain way, to get you to hope about what you're thinking, and again, then to get you to get up and go to these places. That's a neural pathway that holds the thoughts, the hopes, the beliefs, the gratitude that you might feel as a result of getting some temporary needs met, and then the motor cortex associated behaviors of getting up and going. It's nothing but psychological direction and motor cortex associated behavior influencing to get you to go to these places so this neural pathway can be created and reinforced. And then, once they have this created and reinforced, what they'll attempt to do is through another deceptual neural pathway that is based on, this time, mostly events, is what they'll try and do is classically condition you, okay, to run to them for sex for money. And this is done by slowly taking away these places you went to, okay, or what they offer you is things that will not help you survive, okay. Their whole goal is to give you what you need temporarily, so these can be created and reinforced. Then they start influencing these places to barely give you anything, because they already know that this neural pathway has been created and reinforced. Then what they'll do is set up deception and deceptual social relationships by getting men along your path, okay, and even at some of these places as well. They did that to me in Michigan, a Salvation Army employee who is a retired firefighter. Firefighters are all over the internet in reference to being involved in gang stalking. And what he did, well, I'll just put it to you this way. At a Salvation Army was a particular target influenced as a result of starting to get extremely minimal help from the Salvation Army. While that person went there to get help, that person walked along this person's route while they were there and casually and creatively and enticably offered them money for sex. And they did it creatively and casually to try and make it appear it's no big deal. Okay? While you're being still harassed along all your routes, which causes the brain to look for relief, while you're constantly consumed in your thinking about how you're going to feed yourself. Okay? Then they can influence your mind to think about what that person offered through the microwave hearing effect. And how do you think that they can do this? Well, I'm going to listen to this. Hang on a second. Hold on.
Or see aliens, or see aliens, which is a chamber, really what you can microwave in. He's eventually need a setting or a setting behavior.
Head is anything but their own internal thoughts.
Control. And that's what we're seeing in a lot of these victims, my ex-fiance included, is that you can be controlled. Your behavior can be controlled. You can be brought to rage, brought to sadness, made to think you're thirsty, made to think you're hungry, made to drink alcohol when ordinarily you don't drink, all based on basic controlling your thoughts. Almost, I hesitate to call it subliminal messaging because it's really more of an alteration of EEG than you acting on a suggestion. It's actually placing a thought in your head.
Okay, and what he meant by this is that with the microwave hearing effect, when they have a target in an immediate situation that they put them in as a result of the target being destitute and as a result of the target being in extreme circumstances while they're destitute, what they'll do is use the microwave hearing effect and remote neural monitoring at one time. Do you see how it says right here, the irresistible go here, go there commands? And that is done by using what is known as the microwave hearing effect to direct neural influence for psychological direction. Okay, it says it right there, psychological direction, microwave hearing to direct neural influence, okay, for suggestion and psychological direction. And how do they do this? Well, see, what they do is I'm talking to you right now with using my voice. Okay, my voice algorithm, my voice, my subvocals, my speech, okay? Well, when you close your mouth and you think to yourself, you're using what is known as your internal dialogue. What they'll do is take a target's voice print, okay, the melody and pitch and tone of their voice, and incorporate it within the software program that the microwave hearing effect is in. And then as a result, the dictionary that is, well, I call it a dictionary. And what it is that it's a huge program that holds every single word in the English language, including slang term. And what this computer can do is compose sentences by taking words out of the dictionary, just like I'm having a thought right now, or I'm making a statement right now, I am going to go to Walmart. These are words that compose a sentence for psychological direction. What they can do is take my voice print, put it in the computer, okay, and then the computer will pick out words to streamline sentences to transmit into my audio cortex using my voice print. As a result, and it's transmitted under the perceptual radar. So as a result, because it literally says it right here, each acoustic tone is weighted for several microwave frequencies by a formula called the mode matrix, which is used to calculate best perception requirements. Okay, and what I'm trying to state is that when they transmit psychological direction in any target's head using their voice print, it's transmitted below the perceptual radar. Okay, so they have no idea that the target is being that their audio cortex is receiving instructions in their own voice print by a third party. And this is to get them, while they're exciting the get up and go innate response that's connected to the limbic system, okay? And you would not believe the technological, how they have totally 100% perfected these neural, in reference to how they have, when they develop a scheme to get a target to go from A to B to C to D, it's all about getting them to go to a place for exploitation. through deceit of the technology and through the deceit of the individuals that they play along your path. So they get this guy to think about, well, he knows your situation because he's already part of the campaign. So you go to a Salvation Army to get help. They've started to dwindle down their help to you in order to keep the need that you have alive, okay? And while you're there, they brought this guy along and tried to casually and entice you to give up sex for money by using cleverly created language, okay? Like, it's no big deal, like, you know, there's nothing wrong with sex, and you know, if you, like, you know, it's a normal function, it's a normal need, and that, you know, that, you know, if you were ever so inclined to, you know, get together with me, you know, I would be inclined to do something for you, okay? And then, so the target leaves his environment, okay, and walks right back into the same desperate situation, the same circumstances, and the same need, okay? And this is then where they will use the voice morphing of your voice to transmit psychological direction in your head concerning what he offered. And since you don't know you're being influenced from a remote distance and you're hearing thoughts in your head in your own voice, you're going to believe that it's you thinking this matter through concerning your situation and his offer. As a result, you'll get on the phone, call him up, have sex with him for money, and then they'll repeat that by keeping you in the same circumstance, okay? And as a result, that pathway becomes created and neurally reinforced. And then it can be identified and marked using remote neural monitoring, because anytime a neural pathway is created, a resonance frequency is formed concerning it. They identify and mark that resonance frequency of that neural pathway and then use remote neural monitoring to stimulate it. And that's basically, hang on a second, that's basically the theme of this video, of this particular, it's called brain entrainment, okay? That is achieved through a bunch of different modalities. And, well, I already showed you the section of the flyer that talked about, oh, here it is right here. And this is where they then use this technology, the remote neural monitoring, to identify and mark the resonance frequency of that pathway to stimulate it. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a video right below this video in the blog, and I'm going to also put the same video in the description of this YouTube video, so you can literally witness the factual realities concerning these expeditions in reference to how it's been covered on the news, in reference to, not on the news, but on radio broadcast and radio interviews online. So what we have to do is we have to understand here is that what this is about is twin door mind control. Because what they want to do is keep you in a circular, nothing but a, they want to keep you in this neural pathway, okay? Because also, after this guy's used you for sex for money, if they get you addicted to drugs, or if they try to influence you to go drink in order to alleviate the anxiety from your situation, once that neural pathway is created, they can then take the money, okay, the money that you got from the sex, in order to be able to take the money from that by classically conditioning and reinforcing a pathway that they psychologically directed you to go drink to alleviate the anxiety, to go run to, they'll also put individuals along your path to try and get you involved with drugs. And then once you become addicted, that's a neural pathway that they'll stimulate. So basically what they do is put you in a bad situation, okay, in order to be able to create the circumstances. They take away all different types of help that you normally should be allowed to get through charities, churches, Salvation Army, social services, and they keep this help away from you in order